Hello, so welcome to the Cool Crochet Society. I'm Kelly and today I'm going to show you how to make these lovely swirled pumpkins. I mean, I love the effect that this swirl gives. Just going around the little stem on top. So how do we make them? Okay, for my pumpkins I'm using Sirdar cotton decay in this lovely gorgeous orange. And to make the small pumpkin, I'm going to start by making a foundation chain of 17. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17. And in that first chain, I'm just going to pop a stitch marker. So I always make my turning chains count as the first stitch. So then in the fourth chain from my hook, I'm going to make a half double crochet. These pumpkins are made using all half double crochet, and then the stems we use single crochet. And then we're just going to do half double crochet in every stitch across. Okay, so there's row 1. We've got a half double crochet in every row, 15 half double crochet. And I'm going to turn chain 1, and in my first stitch going through both loops I'm going to make 2 half double crochet. I'll just pop a stitch mark on my first stitch. I really recommend using stitch markers for this because it's really easy to drop stitches in how we're going to be doing this. So we've now got 2 half double crochet in that first stitch, and you go through both loops. Now for the rest of this, we're going to keep all our texture on one side, and the great thing about the half double crochet is that it's got 3 loops. We have this front loop, this top loop, and this back loop here. So we're going to make the rest of our half double crochet of this row in the back loop only. Okay, so just go in that back loop, and that means you've got this lovely texture come through on the front. So we're going to keep all our texture on one side. Okay, so I'll get a few stitches done and you'll start to see that come through. So you can see you've got those ridges. So we're at our last 2 stitches, and now we're going to do half double crochet 2 together. To do that, I'm going to yarn over as usual, and for this first part I am going to go into the back loop again and pull up a loop. Then yarn over and into that last stitch, which in this row is the top of our turning chain. It's a bit trickier. Yarn over, pull through, then yarn over, pull through all loops. So that 2 stitches is now just a single stitch. I'm going to turn, chain 1, yarn over, and in that first stitch, which is our half double crochet 2 together that we've just done, pull up a loop, yarn over, and then in this third loop here, very front loop, hook through, yarn over, and pull through all the loops. So the first stitch of this row is a half double crochet 2 together. And now we're going to half double crochet in every stitch in this very front loop all the way across. And this is how we're going to make our whole pattern. So this edge here will always have 2 double crochet 2 together to start and finish on this edge, which means she's going to start this way. And on this side we're going to have 2 double crochet in the end going through both loops, so we want to stabilise the end. So we always go into both loops at either end just to make it nice and stable. And this is going to start going this way. And all the texture is being kept on one side So because we're going that very back loop, just take a look at that lovely texture coming through. So I just go to one I did earlier. Here we go. So you can see how that's now on a slant. And it's this slant that is going to make our swirls. So once you've got this, so it's 15 stitches across, 15 rows up, and it's really easy to count when you're doing rows because you just count the different rows of texture you've got. So when you finish, you want to leave a really long tail. You want several inches, and I'm going to use this to pull tight both the top and bottom ends. I'm not a fan of weaving in ends, so if I can take a shortcut on ends I will. So the next step is to whip stitch these two ends together, and you can see that swirl happens when you do that. So the top and bottom come together and we're going to whip stitch. Okay, so I'm going to use this end. Well, I should say on that last row when you finish your last half double crochet in the last stitch, you want to chain one and then you can cut off. So I'm going to pull the end into the needle. I'm going to bring it up to the top here, and I'm just going to go through that first stitch. And then I'm just going to whip stitch the two sides together, join together, and that join just looks like it's another one of our textured rows. So you can see how it's now on a diagonal, all that texture. So now I'm going to weave my the same tail of yarn we just used through the top. I'll say top, this will actually be our bottom. And I'm just going to go through the edges of the stitches. I'm not going through every single one, I'm just going where there's a nice convenient gap. We don't want anything too tight, so we need to pull this together. But this will come together very nicely. Yeah. And then you just pull it in tight. And that is now all pulled together. So don't worry if it looks a bit uneven right now, we will sort that later. And the next step is to start stuffing. But first we're going to bring that tail up through the middle and pull that up there. So we'll need that again in a bit. So when we stuff, just make sure that this tail stays out. And then we just need to fill with stuffing. So I shall be back in a second with the stuffing. Okay, so I've got my stuffing all in there, and I've just used regular toy stuffing. And I packed it in nice, so now we need to sort this out. I'm going to close the top. So I'll just thread that tail that we pulled through the middle from the bottom there, up here. And we do the same thing as before. And we're just going to go through around the top so that we can pull it tight. Round and round. That's our beginning one. So that can be weaved in once we've done this as well. So this is why we leave that really long tail when we cut our yarn, just so that we can do this and not have loads of ends everywhere, which is a definite bonus. There we go, and then pull tight. Okay, so you might need to mould this a bit, so we've got it back in there. So that goes in, that comes out, and just give everything a bit of a mould until it's kind of the shape. There we go. One swirly bodied pumpkin. You can see that swirl coming together at the bottom. And then just all the way around. But don't be afraid to give it a squidge just to get the shape you want. So we've got this hole in the top. And this is where we're going to join our stem. Okay, so to do the stem of our pumpkin, I'm going to use this lovely green from Sirdar cotton prints. And there are two ways you can do this. The way I'm going to show you is by working straight into the top of your pumpkin here, or you can make it separately and then sew it on. Okay, so to add it in straight away, you're going to be working straight into tops of the pumpkin. So 1, 2, 3, 5. There's about 6 points there I can work into. So there, 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 and there. So that's 6 single crochet we'll do round. So then if you didn't want to work into the pumpkin, which is a bit fiddly, you just push your hook straight into those points, straight into there, and I'm just going to join the yarn on like that, chain 1, and into the same space I'm going to make a single crochet, and then the next point round, again just push my hook in and single crochet, and I'm going to do that all the way around. 2, 3, into there. So you just make as many single crochets as you think you need to get all those points and to go round the top. So you've got a stem big enough that you're happy with. So you might have to pull it tight again a little bit sometimes. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I think into there. Just move that tail out of the way. Into there. So I've got about 6 in there. So now I'm just going to work in a spiral. So I'm going to go back into the top of the first single crochet and make another single crochet and just do that all the way around. And I'm going to do that until my stem is as big as I want it to be. Just gone through 2 there. So this is a little bit fiddly. So instead, if you don't want to do it this way, you can chain 6, slip stitch into the first chain, and then single crochet all the way around until you've got the size that you want, and then just sew it onto the top of your pumpkin instead. So once I've got the stem to the size that I'd like, I'm just going to slip stitch into the next single crochet, and then I can tie off. It's got a little bit out of shape there, but just give it a squidge. And then you can tie off all your ends and you'll be left with your little squidgy, swirly pumpkin. So thank you for joining me for that. I hope you enjoy making your swirly pumpkins. If you'd like to see what else is happening in the Cool Crochet Society, you can come and join our group on Facebook and subscribe to our newsletter to see what's in the works and any news that we have. So thank you for joining me, and I shall see you next time.